Sickle cell disease is a major concern of public health significance in Africa. Nearly two-thirds of the global burden of sickle cell disease is found to be in sub-Saharan Africa. There is increased mortality risk in the disease, with patients in Africa due to associated complications such as acute chest syndrome, asthma, and others. As a result of COVID-19, infections are higher as these patients are immunocompromised and may be at risk, high risk of mortality. To help us understand the new normal for these patients, we have Dr. Annette Akinshete, National Coordinator, Chief Executive Officer of Sickle Cell Foundation, Nigeria. She's also a public health physician. She joins us here in Lagos. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
All right. First, explain to us the common clinical manifestations in a sickle cell patient and how this changes.
Can I just kind of set the stage? Because this year, last month, we celebrated World Sickle Cell Day on 19th June. And the theme this year has been sickle cell and COVID-19. Okay, sickle cell falls into the category of conditions that we say are comorbidities, pre-existing conditions. So they're actually more vulnerable to getting infections generally. And that's because the spleen, an organ of immunity that we have in our abdomen, and their white blood cells are compromised. So they're impaired. So they're not able to fight infection the way the general population would. And also we find that their levels of vitamin D, which you have seen now, helps us with immunity, helps us boost our immunities. The levels of vitamin D are also low. For all these reasons, they're generally more vulnerable to infections, whether viral, bacterial, malaria, or any parasites and so on. And definitely in this era, COVID-19. So we're very particular about how we take care of them. And here in Nigeria, and I think in fact globally, we have been on very high alert since the pandemic came on stream. So, and we've kept tab of all our persons who have sickle cell. There's this concept I've always talked about of called shielding. That is, in addition to all of the precautions and precautionary measures that are out there, social distancing and all that, shielding is an extra layer of protection that ensures that people with sickle cell, and perhaps even others who have comorbidities, restrict the interaction with other people as much as possible. And during the lockdown, it was a case of stay at home, go nowhere. And so their medicines, foods, and other things were taken to them in their home. So therefore know that will require a lot of support from the community, from family, from friends, from church.
Exactly,
and
because they have to work,
for those who have to work.
And those that go to school.
So now, reason we're even talking about this now is that children are going back to school. What are the things that have to be in place in school? So this one thing we've learned during this COVID pandemic response is the need for us to work across the sectors, work in concert, work synergistically, in harmony, you know what I mean? Like systems. We work as a system, not necessarily in compartments. So we have written, Sickle Cell Foundation Nigeria has written to Lagos State Ministry of Health. We've also written to the Federal Ministry of Health with guidelines for keeping persons who have sickle cell safe during this time as they go back to school and also as they go back to work. Many are already working. We have a couple of them in my place of work. How do you keep them safe? Those shielding measures, that is, keep them safe at home. Even at home, you do not share cutlery, you don't share towels, you stay in open places if you can afford it, stay in a room of your own if you can afford it, and if you can't afford it and in a room of your own, stay in a bed by yourself, you don't share anything. So keep rooms ventilated. All those things we now have to move to the workplace or move to the school as well. But that means teachers and parents have to work together, not only in the school. Remember also that children have to commute back and forth. What measures are in place? You see why the systems have to work together. Education, health, transportation, and all that. In school, well, we're lucky that now it's only those who are in the graduating classes that have to go back. So in terms of space, I'm not so much concerned. They'll be able to put children in different classes and have them spaced out. The problem is when all the full complement of children return. How do you make that happen? For those with sickle cell, we are teaching teachers to help them come forward out of, if they can't maintain the 6 feet, bring them to the front of a class where there's more space. So we just have to be creative and adapt to the situation we find ourselves in.
Right.
If there are corridors or verandas, utilize them. Open windows, let them take short breaks and get
a lot of
air.
measures there that need to be in
out
place.
there yes.
We appreciate your time, Dr. Annette Akinshete, National Director and Chief Executive Officer, Sickle Cell Foundation Nigeria. Thank you for joining us on the program.
Thank you very much for having me.